this segment, we want to highlight areas and needs in our state that deserve our attention and the selfless work happening to produce better outcomes. And I personally can't think of a better topic to start with than better outcomes for Colorado families, specifically in the court system. Now, you may not know 75% of Coloradans who represent themselves in family court each year. 2020, there were 30,000 new family law cases that were filed without the presence of an attorney at all. The challenge to secure affordable representation in Colorado leaves mothers, fathers, former husbands, and wives fending for themselves in family court. Well, in 2022, the Colorado Supreme Court licensed paralegals and paraprofessionals to represent clients in divorce and child custody cases, which is a more affordable option to counter the $300, $400, sometimes $500 an hour lawyers charge in this state. And today we're joined by one of the family law attorneys selected by the Supreme Court to help make this whole paralegal licensing thing happen. Nobody better to talk about it with us today than Maha Kamal. Maha, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's kind of go back to the beginning. Why is this so necessary?
Well, you just read off some of the statistics. I think even today we're looking at upwards of 80% of Coloradans are going through the most intimate area of law by themselves. They're choosing to represent themselves in their divorces and their custody cases. And the Colorado Supreme Court and our justices said this is a big problem. We need to address this and offer some other alternatives. And that's where PALS came in.
Okay, and so you guys have your first inaugural class that was just sworn in, a couple of months ago. It's really exciting because I know it's something you've been working on for a couple of years. How did that process go?
It was awesome. So I started in 2020, and PALS is the name of the actual subcommittee of the Supreme Court that I co-chaired with Judge Arkin, and that took 4 years, and a lot of Zoom calls over COVID, so many dedicated professionals, judges, family court facilitators, professionals in different agencies, and then it happened. We had applications come in, and they sat for their exam in April, and we swore in 62 of them in June. And we have the largest class in the United States.
That's right, because Colorado is just the third state to even enact something like this?
It's one of the first. I don't know if it's the third, but there's a couple others. We took a lot from Utah and Arizona. Washington was the very first state, but we're one of the first, so it's quite a pioneering feat.
Definitely. Probably one of the most important questions I'll ask you today is, now that this is available, and I know firsthand how hard it is to be in the Colorado court system, there's nothing more excruciating, right?
Yeah.
To try to fight for your family and for your children. And now that this is available, how would I seek out a paralegal to even start to help me in my case?
So they don't have to be just paralegals. They can be paraprofessionals.
Okay.
And the first class is unique, the inaugural class, because they have family law experience. A lot of them are seasoned family law paralegals. A lot of them have been around, actually, I should admit, even before I was born.
Wow.
Decades of experience. I actually taught the practicum that occurred the day after they were sworn in. And during some of these classes, I was just blown away with how much experience they have. If you want, a lot of them are going through law firms. They're staying with the law firms that they were working with, but some of them have branched out on their own. The Attorney Regulation Council website has a directory for attorneys and paraprofessionals. So again, they don't have to be paralegals, but a lot of them to start are paralegals. You could probably just Google it too. I mean, that's a hot search term for us, is LLP, licensed paraprofessional.
Yep. And so with this being accessible right now, and you touched upon some of this because they do have so much experience in certain cases, but talk to the folks who may want to do this one day. Is there a feeling that they can handle these cases, right? Like they're not overwhelmed, like some help is better than no help at all, which is something that some of the lawyers talked to when we did a story about this a couple of years ago.
Yeah. They are experienced. I like to, they're akin to physician's assistants, but they have a lot, they can practice law. They can't go to trial, they can do opening and closing statements, but this inaugural class, like I said, has more experience than some of the junior associates, baby associates that you may be seeing coming into law firms, and interview them, talk to them. That's the one-on-one where you're gonna see that this person really knows their stuff. And I would trust any one of them. And I'm not saying that just because. I really would with any family law case I may ever have.
Yep. Well, that's high praise there. Thank you for kind of breaking this down because it is a new resource in the state of Colorado that people need to know about. So we're going to continue this conversation with you and follow along as paraprofessionals and paralegals go through the process and continue to get licensed. Thank you so much for your time.